I have been speculating for a while now that AI will probably lead us towards a world of idiocracy, where you drink water like from the toilet. Well, there's now some scientific evidence that appears to at least partially bolster this claim. We are going to have a look at a Microsoft-funded study that suggests that Copilot and ChatGPT may atrophy your critical thinking. Welcome back to Switched to Linux. And here we like talking about computers and privacy and technology, and mostly about taking control of your life and things, particularly in the digital world. And today we did want to have a look at this article. Of course, this is kind of some scientific evidence behind one of the things that I've been speculating for a while. So it's kind of exciting to see and to read. So if you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Check if you are still subscribed, if you think you are. Leave us a like and a comment down below. And of course, our main article here is going to come out of Windows Central. Will an over-reliance on Copilot and ChatGPT make you dumb? A new Microsoft-funded study at Carnegie Mellon, among other places, suggests that AI will atrophy your critical thinking. Now, this quote here is not from the study. This is from Reddit. I already feel like I've lost some brain cells. We all can probably feel like that at some point in time. Now, this is a review of a research study in collaboration with Carnegie Mellon University, among other places, that is looking at how does the usage of AI models impact your critical thinking skills. And according to the researchers, here a quote from the article: a key irony of automation is that by mechanizing routine tasks and leaving exception handling to the human user, you deprive the user of the routine opportunities to practice their judgment and strengthen their cognitive musculature, and leaving them atrophied and unprepared when exceptions do arise. And this really is the fundamental principle I want to talk about. Our abilities strengthen by us using them. We talk about getting big and buff. I'll talk about weightlifting. If you go out and do weightlifting, you will have stronger muscles. If you go out and engage in more critical thinking type skills, you will engage in better ability to learn and to research. I think about my own life. I was a college professor right at the beginning of this phase of online homework, and it left to students immediately dropping in competency. And of course, some of the earlier ones was master in chemistry, and who was this, Pearson, I believe it was. And as we started seeing students relying on these systems checked for right answers. Now, I talk in times I did work with a startup company that ended up being purchased by Macmillan. I forget, they changed the name of it since then. I forget what it's called now. Ours was a little bit better, and it would help you walk through the process, but even that was not nearly as good. You see, when I was a college student, before all this online homework stuff, I get out in there and I'm doing what is considered one of the hardest undergraduate courses you will ever take. That's physical chemistry. Okay, we're talking that physical chemistry uses math higher than most math majors learn across the country. Looking at the models of where are the electrons around the atoms, looking at the uncertainty principle and quantum mechanics and things like this. And so to really understand that topic as well, I would go in on Saturday, and my entire Saturday was devoted to nothing but physical chemistry all semester. I'd go in, I'd lock the door. I was at the dorm rooms at the time. I was actually paid as a live-in tutor because I was considered by the science departments as one of the best of the science students there. But Saturday was my day off, which worked well because most college students aren't doing a lot of homework. I was a weird geek, so I would shut and lock the door. I'd actually throw a towel over the bottom so no light crept in. I'd turn off all of the main lights. I'd sit in one little desk with one little desk lamp and play some really light music in the background. And for about 6 or 7 hours straight that day, I'd do physical chemistry problems. And it was mind-numbing and painful, but I came out of it learning the material, as difficult as it was. Well, when we move this transition onto online homework, you're no longer doing the process, which is what causes you to learn the material. You're now just doing whatever it is to get the answer. You're simplifying steps. You're not really understanding what you're doing, and you're entering the data, and then you're getting a pass fail on the number. And when you look at this, the challenge is when you start leaning on these types of tools, you do start to lose some competence in the material. So this is what the problem is with a lot of these new AI models, is they can do all of these tasks for us. But as we are leaning more on them for the tasks, what ends up happening is we rely on them more to the exclusion. Now, what many people are trying to suggest is that we're going to just use the AI for the simple routine things, but the complicated tasks we will be able to still handle. So we'll simplify our workflow. And this is one of the things that the article did bolster, is that an experienced person in the field still utilized their critical thinking in order to evaluate if the AI model was giving good information. The challenge with this, of course, you have to ask this question: if all of the low-level work is being automated, who is going to come in behind the expert? As the experts start retiring in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, who is going to come up and replace them from behind if all of the basic level stuff that they learned to be an expert by doing has been replaced by a machine? We will get to the point like Isaac Asimov's A Feeling of Power. If you've not read that story, you should read it, where the society forgot how to do basic, simple arithmetic because the calculators were so widespread use. Well, I don't think we're going to get to that point necessarily where simple arithmetic fades away entirely, although, I don't know, maybe simple arithmetic is beyond people because of the modern form of math. But that being said, as we embrace the AI more often than the more simple tasks of our routine jobs, we lose the ability to know how to deal with those. And without that experience, you cannot possibly troubleshoot the higher level things. And so the reliance of the AI will destroy not necessarily the whole industries now, but it will destroy them all in a short period of time if we are not cautious, as the experienced people begin to resign and nobody else is coming up behind them. This is actually the research article. We have researchers here, Microsoft researchers. Some of these are from Cambridge. Some of these are from Carnegie Mellon. And let's see, we got Cambridge. It looks like mostly Cambridge. I know the main article said Carnegie Mellon. One guy's from Carnegie Mellon. Everyone else is from Cambridge, and they're all Microsoft researchers. So they put together this report, and it is a fascinating read. I'll link this article down below. But this fascinating read here does go through and looking at what their model is. Now, what they're doing is they're utilizing the Bloom definition of critical thinking. And although they suggested, that there's other critical thinking models, they use this one because it's the one most often used in education. And it is also one of the oldest models. It contains with it 6 elements: the knowledge, the comprehension, the application, the analysis, the synthesis, and the evaluation. And these are some of those things that are missing as you go through an advanced education. And this is one of the critiques I got when I was doing my, I can't remember, I think it was my candidacy exams in grad school. And the one professor says, you're taking them at their word too much. You need to do a little bit more evaluation of what they're actually telling you. And that was a good piece of feedback. Now, he said it in a way that I didn't appreciate at the time. You need to trust people less. Birch and Christian, what do you do? But at that time, of course, I understand now his point. We can't take people necessarily at their word, but the Bloom critical thinking model allows for the idea that you're going to not just have recall knowledge, which is where most people are at, but you comprehend things. I learned this as I was studying, I forget who I was studying, the academic models. It was from a Harvard professor back in the 60s. One of the earliest academic models I did on the education and on the learning element, where you learn that the true knowledge of thinking and critical thinking is to reassemble pieces together. Simple recall, the simple knowledge is the basic level of education. It is absolutely nothing. Easy to do, short to remember, and doesn't actually lend itself to long-term use and application. When you comprehend it, you have the ability to see other connections. Application allows you to take the knowledge and put it forth in some other means. We have this old question, why would I possibly need to use this, talking about math. Well, when you can learn to apply it, then it makes a lot more sense. This is why if you want to study calculus and understand it better, it helps you understand why and how the application is. If you're a calculus student, you're struggling with that question, go get yourself a copy of David Berlinski's book called A Tour of the Calculus. It covers the philosophy and why it is so important. It's so fascinating to see. And so then we look at the analysis component. Can you look at pieces of information and analyze this is truthful or not truthful? And then the synthesis part is where you can take information and create out of that information other things that haven't been used. This is really that thing where large language models can't actually do right. They can readjust, but they can't actually create a biblical term, ex nihilo, out of nothing, Latin phrase, used a lot in theology, I should say. And then finally is to evaluate, to look at the information and evaluate it. So that's really the model that they were working at. They used 319 participants and they analyzed 936 projects that those participants did. And what they ended up doing is finding that those people with a lot more knowledge in the field, they tended to keep their critical thinking because they were interested in making sure that everything was correct. They maintained their critical thinking and checked everything that the AI did. And if this is the way you're using AI, you're running it through the system and then you're checking it to make sure it is using things appropriate. You're editing things to make sure things are correct. You're cross-referencing all of your resources and your references, or leaning on expert knowledge to verify its authenticity. These people tended to keep their critical thinking in this particular study. But those without the knowledge, with a lower experience in the field, or people that felt they were rushed or overworked or forced to meet deadlines too fast, they tended to use a lot lower critical thinking in their studies as they looked at things. Now, the experienced workers tended to be fine. The inexperienced workers tended to not be fine, which means that if you're forcing AI on a group of employees in a project, those that already have a lot of experience are going to benefit from higher efficiency utilizing the AI without seriously compromising the work. But your more inefficient teams are going to seriously compromise your work, and they're going to lose the ability to do critical thinking at the same time. And this is one of the challenges. Of course, one of the problems that I see with the AI movement is that people are not inherently seeking to always do the best job. Many people are seeking to just get the job done. It's just a part of the instant gratification of our culture. If you can curb that and seek to do the job right, AI can be a greatly powerful tool. But as you are seeking to just get it done, or you're being pushed to meet more deadlines or more goals, then in this case, AI will lead to more negative outcomes. Now, the limitations of the study, they're worth talking about. They did talk about them in the conclusions. Let's check the discussions. Limitations over here. I'm going to throw out one they did not mention, and this is something very important when you're looking at scientific studies. It was a very small sample size. 319 participants is not a huge sample size. They didn't specifically mention that. The next major limitation of this is the usage of critical thinking itself is already subjective, and they were self-reporting their results. So self-reporting, we find self-reporting a lot in nutritional studies, and it tends to be, produce very bad science because you can't necessarily remember. Now, if you were doing the scientific experiment on the forefront and they were taking accurate notes, it can be a little bit better to do self-reporting. But as far as bringing people in and saying, tell me about the latest 3 projects you did, and asking them questions and having them self-report, not as objective data as you could have. The other limitation they pointed out is everyone they did were English exclusive. So of course they were, people that could interact properly in fluent English. And they also did say their study consisted of younger, more tech savvy people rather than a lot of the older people. So which could lean to, with all their results, leaning towards more of a cognitive decline, which I think is really a good principle, a good point to keep in mind. Now, again, this study is funded by Microsoft, but remember, it's Microsoft that is pushing AI everywhere, all right? Think about that. Microsoft does this study. They get the results back, and let me see, when was this study released? Let's see. So it is a brand new study, 2025. So, presumably they just got the study back. That begs the question, is Microsoft going to backtrack now and go, maybe we shouldn't cram AI into everything? Of course not. They have to cram AI into everything. And this is their modus operandi going forward. And unfortunately, they're not the only ones. I want to cover first what Microsoft is doing, but then I want to talk about other sources outside of Microsoft that's doing the same thing, unfortunately. So this guy asks from Microsoft community posts, why is Microsoft Copilot install itself on my PC? I remember when my cousin this happened to, and he's like, what is this nonsense? And he uninstalls it without a problem. Well, the Microsoft, I think it was the 24H2 Windows 10, I think that's the one, just decided to go ahead and install Copilot on everybody's PC. Hey, you guys all want generative AI crap popping up at every little corner. Hey, one more notification. Excuse me, you're not using me yet. Come on, buddy. I'm Clippy. I've just gone insane. You see, you've had me in a padded cell for the last 20 years since you banned me off your system. I'm back. No, Clippy, go away. We'll call him Copilot-y. But this guy, of course, there's a little bit of discussion down here. But people are a little bit mad about this. This guy, of course, says, Horace Wiggins, yeah, read the EULA. They decide what gets on your computer. Yep, that's kind of the problem. Of course, over in Edge, they want you to use Edge. Now, Edge is this AI-powered browser. Yeah, we got Copilot, we got AI theme generators, we got text predictions, we have an editor. All right, all these AI features at the power of your fingertips, right at your browser, constantly nagging you to use your stuff. Here's auto-name tab groups. AI can suggest auto-naming your tab groups based on what you're doing. Yeah, sounds like Microsoft seeing all of your tabs, sending it up to their server, and having their server's AI report back what it is. Maybe they're are they collecting data about this? There you go. Your AI is just doing all these types of things in here. Now, of course, they have just recently upped the price of Office 365. They want to do away with these, with the one-time use as much as possible, like the buy it one time it's installing your computer. They are still offering that for now, but eventually they are going to phase out of that as they go with the pure subscription-based model. Now, to their defense, they just raised the Office 365 subscription for the first time since unveiling it, but they raised it with the added benefit of adding this nonsense Copilot crap in there. Now, you can still, at least for a temporary period of time, keep paying the old price without the Copilot. But why would you possibly want to do that when you can have AI constantly annoying you at every single turn? And so here's how to use it. Oh, you can boost productivity and creativity and lose your brain cells, apparently, according to the research. You can do efficiency, enhance efficiency, and get trusted security. Ooh, kickstart your generative AI. Copilot chat, Copilot pages, Copilot Outlook, Copilot PowerPoint, Copilot Excel, Copilot in Teams. All right, we have Copilot everywhere, folks. They're cramming it all in. In fact, there's an entire page on Microsoft dedicated to AI features crammed inside of Windows. AI-powered features in Windows 11. Go ahead. Here's your built-in features from productivity, creativity apps. They're adding AI. Was it Paint? I think they added AI. Why? All right. Productivity, creativity apps to an advanced AI tools to make things more accessible. These features will do more than you could imagine. Productivity, everyday education, creativity. Here's your PowerPoint stuff. Here's your everyday tasks, drafting your emails and things like that. Here's support learning with powerful tools. Here's turning ideas into digital art. Oh, yes, AI tools in Paint. God. There it is. Choose your next PC. There you go. Based on all of our AI integrations. Now, as I said, Microsoft is cramming AI in absolutely every single corner. Despite they just have published an article which suggests this is potentially a bad idea, do you think they're going to backtrack and say, maybe we shouldn't pull these out? No, of course not. Because AI is trendy, AI is fatty, and unfortunately AI is being crammed everywhere, including the brand new, shiny Firefox 135, the brand new Firefox, and now everybody's being forced to update to. Now they have their AI features. Now they first put this in, I think, in Firefox 130, but it has been disabled. You could go in and enable it. Now it is globally enabled. So now when we get into Firefox, we will be constantly nagged to use AI features. Now you will have to go in and choose your provider. The built-in AI chatbot accessible via the sidebar is being rolled out globally, requiring users to select a provider to activate. And credit card autofill. Okay, I guess that's a new feature otherwise. So how is Mozilla users responding to this? Well, this was actually I guess a year ago. Please do not add AI browser to the core feature. If you want to experiment with it, do it as an optional feature in the form of an add-on or similar. Many people use Firefox because it is not Edge or Chrome, and that necessitates its AI being optional. 44 replies. I agree. It's supposed to be a privacy-focused browser, and now they want to think about that. Firefox wants to be a privacy-focused browser, and they're cramming in the biggest privacy thief in the industry now. There's massive court cases about AI and what type of data it is going and how the data is being trained on. What is it being trained on? There's serious concerns with AI taking the data that you have and somehow leaking some of that data. In fact, some of that data did recently leak. I can't remember if that's in an upcoming articles or if we covered that recently. But yeah, some AI models have already leaked out a lot of data. This guy says, I don't use Edge or Chrome because I'm against Google and Microsoft using my personal data to train their AI. I dumped Windows 11, switched to Mint for the same reason. If Mozilla plans to do the same, I will seek out other options. Me too. I second that motion. If you put AI into your browser, it will destroy your user base. After the constant complaints about AI being implemented absolutely everywhere and how privacy is being compromised constantly, you decide this is a good idea. Clearly, the problem is good, completely out of touch with people meeting the decisions. Okay, either I read that sentence wrong or he wrote it wrong. Clearly, the problem is good, completely out of touch. People meeting the decisions are. Okay, it's a nonsensical sentence. I kind of get the heart of what he's trying to say. No surprise since you added ads to it a long time ago. AI is a new arms race, new power that should not be wielded by anybody. I agree. No AI. Bacon, mac and cheese. Tasty. 100%. So-called artificial intelligence exasperates inequality and accelerates climate change with no real benefit for humanity. And the industrial-grade bull bleepy machines known as generative AI are the latest vanguard, threatening to divide us even further. AI is a bubble, and chasing after it is not a human-centric product strategy. Ideally, Mozilla would resist the temptation and not waste resources on AI. If AI comes to Firefox, I will be looking for another browser. Full stop, Mozilla. If you insist on shoving this trash into Firefox, respect your users and make it purely opt-in. Normally, I tend not to agree with the posts of inflammatory nature, but in this case, I open an exception. It's not until Wild Thing where we have a guy that goes off the hinges telling us that how wonderful AI is because AI apparently has really really sweet smelling farts or something. This guy is kind of crazy, a little unhinged, and you can see that launched into an entire Luddite discussion with it. So we're not going to read all of that, but he just keeps on coming on in, going back and forth. Kind of like the one guy that gets really mad at some of my videos and copy and paste the same answer. If you do that kind of stuff and you're copy and paste the same crap throughout my comment section, that will actually get me to delete the comments. That's one of the few things I will delete your comments over. If you copy and paste the same crap everywhere because you think you're so right and you don't want to have the cognition to actually have an argument, I will delete your comment and possibly ban you from the channel. Go figure. Isn't awesome? If you want to engage in discussion, enjoy yourself. If you want to disagree, enjoy yourself. But copy and paste in the same comment, I will just start deleting your comment. Yep, I'll do it. This guy goes into a whole several paragraphs about the Luddites were right. And then we have more discussion with Wild Things Back. I don't like having my data stolen to create BS generators. The amount of harm Gen AI has already done is greater than any benefits it brings. Collection of user data should be opt-in, and anyone that agrees how their data is scraped is a pushover who doesn't actually care about how their data is handled, especially as data leaks are becoming more common. I don't want this data to fall into the wrong hands, especially if you do anything remotely sensitive in your browser, like, I don't know, online banking, where, your full account numbers are available. AI should honestly be severely regulated. Let's see. Here's more stuff there. Agreed. No AI. So you see that Firefox users are pretty much against it. Firefox is already struggling to retain life. And I don't know. We might see a massive user drop off of this. But the question is, where the hell do you go? I mean, Brave. No, they implemented Leo into Brave long ago. At least you can go into the menu and shut it off pretty quick, which I'm guessing Firefox. Am I going to ditch Firefox over this issue? No, probably not. Because Firefox, being an open source program, will still have the ability to completely opt out of the nonsense. It's just going to be one more step. Hey, we need to have another Firefox hardening guide, I guess. We'll talk about deleting all this crap in there, But anyway, at the summary of all of this, yes, it is true. A research article did come out and suggested that utilizing AI in your workflow can actually lead to a reduction of critical thinking. Well, I'm bolstering my claims that AI will probably lead us to idiocracy as the most likely scenario. We can succeed with it, but it is a lot harder to survive. Already many jobs have been taken over by it. Already scammers have become much more efficient at scamming people because of AI. And right now, the evidence does indeed suggest us that using AI is going to drive us towards idiocracy. So with that, the only thing I can say is I need a long glass of water, like from the toilet. Well, if you like this content, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave me a like and a comment down below. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.